My name is Ladipo Lawani. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm into food processing. So L&L Foods is a food packaging company, and our goal is to create local brands. Our first brand is a brand called Mr. Ekwa, so it's a brand of groundnuts. And so that's kind of what we do. We process groundnuts, make sure they're hygienic, have different flavors. Backstory is we wanted to go into agriculture, and we decided to first understand the problem. We realized in Nigeria there's not a lot of processing, so you don't add a lot of value at the, you just export raw commodities. And so we wanted to add value to some commodity, and we started to figure out which commodity, and then it just hit us that in Nigeria over 90% of the groundnut is unbranded. And if you look at it, packaging and branding is a form of value addition further down the value chain. So we figured there was a big opportunity if over 90% of the groundnuts are unbranded, and so we could create a brand. So we decided to start with groundnuts.
Can you go back a little bit to how you started to grow your groundnuts? You have the smallholder farmers. How did you start growing groundnuts? Do you process, package? What exactly did you require your operation?
When we started, we wanted to just be a packaging company because my background is in marketing, and because what we were trying to do was create a brand, we wanted to source from a manufacturer and just repackage. And then we realized in Nigeria you don't have any large-scale producers, so we got involved in manufacturing. So I don't know if you know, but you probably know this, most commodities have like broken value chains where you can't rely on the next guy to do what you need for your part of the process. So we kind of gradually started to backward integrate, where we started to manufacture, we started to buy more machines. So right now we do the entire primary processing ourselves. So that's from roasting to packaging. We've also started to do secondary. We do all the secondary processing. We've also started to do some of the primary processing as well. So grading, deshelling, and we started to do a little bit of farming. So over time we see ourselves being vertically integrated, but we started at one end and kind of gradually decided that we had to go back.
And where's your plans completed?
Yeah.
Where exact location are you?
Okay, we have a factory in Ikeja, around the industrial part of Ikeja.
So as an entrepreneur, you got into the business. Can you share some of the challenges you faced in the industry?
In my case, one of the biggest challenges I faced was that I wasn't into manufacturing and I wasn't a farmer. So essentially, trying to figure out how to do these things in a country where you didn't really have an ecosystem. So if I was in the US, for instance, there would be machine manufacturers, and then there would be consultants, and you would have the entire support system you can just rely on, but in Nigeria you're having to figure it out yourself. So just the whole learning curve associated with manufacturing, farming, was a big one. The other was also still related is sourcing machines, the right quality of machines. You don't have machine manufacturers here, so every piece you need for manufacturing, I feel like it's a bit challenging to get here. In my case, that was the hardest. At least with us, it was like, how do we build a proper factory that is efficient and produces quality? That entire question was a bit challenging.
So you said you have like some experience in marketing.
Yeah.
And you talked about how you wanted to do the branding of brands because you have brands brand. Can you talk maybe more specific of a brand of products in Nigeria? Because a lot of people see brands are like just branding. So how important is branding in business?
So I used to work in the FMCG space with multinationals, and I realized that a lot of these companies, the real asset is the brand. So the name Nike, the name Kellogg's is worth billions, and if you take that away, you're just dealing with a shell. So I guess my point is brands create value, real economic value. And I think in Nigeria, we sometimes miss that. So you have people who make plantain chips and they just put it in a transparent bag. They're losing more than half of the value they can gain in that type of business. So we went in wanting to create brands, but we also went in wanting to create local brands, Nigerian brands that Nigerians can be proud of. We feel like in Nigeria, a lot of times in the past, when you saw something from Nigeria, it wasn't something you were going to go show your friends and say, hey, this is from Nigeria. But more and more, you started to have that with, say, music and fashion, where our quality went up and we became proud of it. So it's how do we create food brands that speak to us, but are also international standard. I think it's very important for food businesses to start to play, because that's what also gives you sustainability. Kellogg's, a lot of these brands are 200-300 year old, like they're hundreds year old. So and it's because of the brand. In our case, we have a brand, so that's what our packaging looks like. And his name is Mr. Ekpa. We decided to use that name Ekpa because Ekpa is the most common name people use to refer to groundnut if they don't say groundnut. So it's like, how do we make it Nigerian but also give it a bit more international standards?
Can I try this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see what Mr. Ekpa is made of.
Please smile.
scared. So are you telling me that this is the only branded groundnut in Nigeria?
I don't know if it's the only, but I think it's a bit more defined. You know, in that a lot of products have, I mean, branding ranges from just a name to like a whole bunch of characterization. And I think a lot of products are on the spectrum where they're not defined enough to be considered brands and people just look past them. So I'd say in terms of like a well-defined brand, you have Mr. Epa, and then you probably have Burger Peanuts. You know, so a few more people are starting to catch on to the idea of packaging, branding, yeah.
This is Mr. Epa. How much can I get this to the market?
That's 50 naira.
50 naira?
Yeah.
So who exactly is your client? Like 50 naira is pretty decent price.
Yeah.
Who exactly is your client market?
So we're targeting the average, you know, working class person. So someone who's on the go and is just wants a snack. So the kind of person who buys gala. So people in the age range of say 16 to 40, you know, you're in traffic or so it's like on the go. But in Nigeria, groundnut is pretty much everybody. So we also have different sizes of Mr. Ekpa. So it's for the families, for the dad, the mom, the grandma, yeah. But we want it to be affordable. You know, the idea is it doesn't have to be expensive for it to be good quality.
So what kind of policies and financing programs can government do to promote investments in the agri sector in Nigeria?
Yeah. Something that would work or that could work in Nigeria as far as agri is they should set up venture capital firms focused on agri. So a lot of people trying to start up businesses, you're talking about entrepreneurial ventures. There's not a lot of certainty there. So a bank loan might not be the way to go on day one. What you need is risk capital. And you know, so if you create a bank, or if the government, rather than say I'll give you a loan, fund an investment firm that is going to think about this as a business and invest in these companies as, you know, as a VC firm, then that would go a long way, because rather than say let's support everybody, I think it's better to support high potential people. You know, and sometimes you only need one Dangote to become 10 Dangotes. What I mean is, in developed countries, the people who drive a lot are the Microsofts, the Kellogg's, the Nestle's. So if you have people like that out there, the question is, how do you identify them and support them so they go from 1 hectare to Kellogg's, you know? And so yes, I see a lot of just general, like, let's do training for 1,000 farmers and do that and do that and do that. That's fine. But how do we create support for the people who seem to be making progress? How do we make them keep going all the way, I think?
As a young agripreneur, or entrepreneur, what are the innovative ways to invent agriculture for the youth?
Because I'm not even quite sure why the youths are not interested in agriculture.
Are they interested or not?
That's why but I think a show like yours is very helpful, because part of it is awareness. Most young people are looking for how to make money. They don't have jobs. So people are open to what works. And I think being able to showcase that and make them see that it's accessible, people like them are doing it, is one way. Again, obviously financial support, because usually the banks or even a lot of intervention funds are asking for collateral and things like that. But I know they're trying to make it more accessible to young people as well. So just, the kind of support. I think awareness is key. And see how you can make that relevant on social media and the kind of platforms that we engage in. So
where can I get more Mr. Papa? You have more Mr. Papa?
Okay, so right now we're in about 800 stores, but the more popular ones are, you can find it at all Sweet Sensation outlets, you can find it at City Dia, Ebano, at D-Day, you can find it at Game, Mega Plaza. But if you go on our social media handle, social media page, which is Mr. _ Epa. Epa is EKPA. So if you go on our social media page on our website, you can also see. But we also sell to open air markets. So check your local Malam, your local supermarket. It might be in one of those stores as well. But we still have a long way to go in terms of distribution. Our goal is to be in over 1 million stores. So Mr. Ekpa is an indigenous Nigerian groundnut brand. Our goal is to be the most trusted and loved groundnut brand in Nigeria. We go, the extra mile to make sure that you get good quality peanuts. And, our goal is to consistently deliver on that promise. Support us, help us become, help us achieve our goal. And,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.